Canton, Massachusetts. Winter is harsh, and a strong snowstorm sets the scene for a unique story. A seemingly normal woman is accused of a crime that will change her life and affect her community. Karen Reed, a financial analyst and former teacher, is not a nurse, but she is caught in a mess of legal troubles, public attention, and police claims. She has been accused of killing her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. However, her lawyers argue that she has been set up by the police, and there is a troubling scheme hidden beneath everything. The conflict is clear: a simple charge of causing an accident versus a big corruption issue involving several local and state police. Was this a tragic accident on a stormy night made worse by drinking, or was it something more evil? Was Karen Reed really guilty, or was she the victim of a cover-up by the police, known as the Blue Wall of Silence? O'Keefe's death revealed many mistakes and dishonesty that made people question what really happened. This case became a national focus, turning a courthouse in Norfolk County into a battleground for public opinion and justice. On January 29, 2022, the evening was cold and calm in Canton. Karen Reed, 42, and John O'Keefe, a respected 46-year-old Boston police officer who took care of his niece and nephew, spent the night at nearby bars with friends, enjoying the social scene before the storm got worse. Their relationship was loving, but had some tension. The prosecution later pointed out a heated voicemail that Reed supposedly sent to O'Keefe that night, showing they had a fight. Later, they went to the home of fellow officer Brian Albert on Fairview Road, where a gathering of friends, many in law enforcement, was happening. O'Keefe often hung out with his colleagues after work, but this particular place would later be important in the defense's claims of a conspiracy.
By midnight, the storm had worsened, with more snow and colder temperatures making the roads slippery and dangerous. At around 12:30 a.m., Karen drove O'Keefe to the Albert house. According to the prosecution's timeline and toxicology reports, Reed was very drunk, with her blood alcohol content estimated to be between 0.13% and 0.29% when she allegedly drove. This is much higher than Massachusetts' legal limit of 0.08%. The state argued that her disability and bad weather caused the tragic event. Reed said she made a simple U-turn and left, thinking O'Keefe had gone into the house. She left the house without realizing that this small decision would lead to big problems. Time passed. A strong storm continued in Canton. Karen was worried about not hearing from O'Keefe, so she went to Officer Albert's house at 6 a.m. with 2 other women. What she found next would haunt her forever. O'Keefe's body was in the snow, cold and dead, with a head injury and suffering from the cold. When emergency responders arrived, Karen was in shock. She shouted, "I struck him," which would become a key part of the case against her. This unexpected statement became an important issue before the trial. The police quickly secured the area. The medical examiner later reported that O'Keefe died from a head injury and hypothermia. This finding led the district attorney's office to charge Karen with second-degree murder, which a grand jury confirmed in June 2022. The authorities were sure that only one person, Reed, was responsible, which gave the defense a chance to argue against this. What began as a tragic drunk driving accident turned into a case that caught the community's attention. Did this woman make a big mistake, or was there a darker reason behind it, as the defense suggested, involving the police who came to the scene? The community was deeply divided. During the investigation, 2 very different stories came out. The district attorney's office, which represents the prosecution, said that Reed was drunk and, in a moment of anger, hit her boyfriend with her fancy SUV and left him to die in the cold. On the other hand, the defense argued that Karen Reed was set up. They claimed that O'Keefe was attacked inside a house by some of the people living there, and then his body was moved outside during the snowstorm to make Reed look guilty. The case became a real test to see if digital evidence could convince people to trust the investigation. The prosecution carefully built its case using forensic science and digital evidence to show that Reed's vehicle was the weapon. The key evidence came from the telematics system of Karen's Lexus SUV, which acted like a black box. Digital forensics expert Shannon Burgess explained that the black box recorded two important events on January 30th. One event showed the vehicle backing up quickly at about 12:31 a.m., which matched the last activity on O'Keefe's phone. The prosecution argued that this matching time showed Karen's vehicle was at the scene when the crash happened. The missing crash report was explained as a technical issue, since the system was designed to record serious car accidents, not accidents involving pedestrians. Additionally, forensic experts from the MSP Crime Lab found important physical evidence. O'Keefe's DNA was on a broken cocktail glass at the scene, suggesting he might have been injured there. Also, pieces of red and clear plastic found on O'Keefe's clothes matched the material from Karen's broken right rear taillight. This evidence seemed to support the claim that Karen's vehicle hit O'Keefe before she left the scene. The defense did not believe the strong evidence from forensics. They attacked the credibility of the investigation, saying the evidence was wrong and possibly tampered with. They focused on the main investigator, MSP Trooper Michael Proctor, claiming he showed clear bias. The defense showed that Proctor had sent rude and offensive text messages about Reed to others, using disrespectful language. They argued that his clear dislike and prejudice affected the whole investigation. This issue was so serious that the colonel of the Massachusetts State Police confirmed that Proctor was fired in March 2025 for unsatisfactory performance and other internal claims. This public action by the MSP was a big setback for the prosecution's case. Even though Proctor was fired, the Massachusetts State Police stated that his actions did not affect the evidence's reliability. However, it was clear that public trust and the legal strength of the case were harmed. The defense used this scandal to argue that an investigation led by someone with such problems could not be trusted. The defense's key evidence came from an unexpected place: documents from a secret federal investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Boston and the FBI. Even though the investigation did not result in any charges against people involved in hiding information, the defense pointed out a major difference concerning witness Jennifer McCabe's Google search records. A forensic expert for the defense found that McCabe searched for how long to die in a cold at 2:27 a.m. This was earlier than the prosecution said it happened, which was after O'Keefe's body was found. The defense argued that this search time was crucial to showing that someone in the Albert home knew O'Keefe was hurt and left outside before the authorities were called. The defense also supported their case with a report from the engineering firm ARCA found during the federal investigation, which said O'Keefe's injuries did not match the damage to Reed's car. Although the U.S. Attorney's Office chose not to charge the residents of the house, the defense insisted that the federal investigation showed serious problems that suggested local authorities were trying to cover up the truth. The 2025 retrial was important because the first trial ended without a decision. The prosecution was trying to recover from a federal investigation and the Proctor scandal. They had a tough job convincing a new jury that their main evidence was trustworthy. The Norfolk County District Attorney's Office strongly rejected the conspiracy claims, calling them totally false and a desperate attempt to blame someone else. They said the defense was trying to sway public opinion, which was interfering with the court process. The trial lasted for months, with both sides fighting hard. Judge Beverly Canone made key decisions about whether to throw out the case due to problems with the prosecution. The defense worked hard to show evidence that went against the prosecution's claims, while the prosecution tried to prove that the black box data and physical evidence were reliable. The main issue became whether the jury could trust the state's forensic results, especially since the main investigator had been fired for misconduct. The focus shifted from what happened to figuring out who was trustworthy. The jury took 4 busy days to think about the case, showing how complicated and debated the evidence was. Finally, on Wednesday, June 18, 2025, the important moment arrived. The Norfolk County jury gave a surprising split decision, rejecting the main murder claim from the prosecution, but still finding Reed responsible for what she did that night. The jury found Karen Reed not guilty of second-degree murder, not guilty of manslaughter while operating under the influence, and not guilty of leaving the scene of a collision resulting in death.
This sweeping acquittal on all charges directly related to O'Keefe's demise was a judicial victory for the defense's strategy of injecting reasonable doubt through the conspiracy claims. However, the jury did find her guilty of the lesser offense of operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol, OUI. She was immediately sentenced to 1 year of probation for the OUI conviction, allowing her to walk free from the courthouse, but officially confirming her impaired state that night. The decision that said Reed was not guilty in O'Keefe's death did not bring comfort. Instead, it started a new phase of looking into the situation and more legal actions. The legal system quickly divided into civil and administrative parts. The consequences for the police department were quick and clear, showing that people did not trust them. Colonel Jeffrey Noble, who was put in charge of the Massachusetts State Police after several scandals, made an important public statement. He talked about the serious look at how the department has been working, noting that the events of the last 3 years forced them to carefully review their behavior and take real steps to improve training, ensure proper oversight, and increase accountability. This statement was more than just an apology. It was a public promise to make changes. Recognizing that the actions of people like the fired Trooper Proctor hurt the agency's trust, the colonel promised to make changes to help regain public confidence. The Norfolk County District Attorney's Office stuck to its view, but they faced a big loss. They believed Reed was a murderer, but the jury quickly found him not guilty on major charges. To make things worse, a former federal grand juror involved in the U.S. Attorney's investigation admitted to breaking the law by sharing secret information about the case. This broke the trust people had in how the federal court system works, showing that the case had problems even in the most private government dealings. The court's decision didn't end Reed's legal problems. The O'Keefe family, through their lawyer, had already started a civil lawsuit for wrongful death against Reed. This lawsuit has a lower proof requirement, a preponderance of the evidence instead of beyond a reasonable doubt, which means the disagreement about O'Keefe's death will be looked at again in court. The family believes Reed is responsible, even though he was found not guilty, and they are using the legal system to seek both money and accountability. The local government in Canton had to give an official response. The town's select board released a statement about the court's decision, showing respect for the legal process and recognizing how the 3-year situation deeply affected their tight-knit community. This acknowledgement highlighted the public and political issues where actions of a few law enforcement members caused a public health crisis marked by social conflicts and distrust. The case used DNA, vehicle details, and different timelines to show that even government evidence can be questioned if there are concerns about the system's fairness. The jury's split decision was a reasonable way to deal with a tough problem, holding Reed accountable for being drunk but not agreeing with the main claim of murder. The key question: did John O'Keefe die because of his girlfriend's car in the snow, or was he hurt inside the Albert home and left there by people connected to the police? Is still unanswered, leaving a lasting impact on the peace in Canton. The dropping of the murder charges and the conviction for OUI means that the Canton tragedy will be remembered as an example of how mistakes by some government officials can create doubt that affects a whole murder investigation. The quick response for change from the Massachusetts State Police shows the serious harm done to politics and public trust. Finding the truth may now happen in civil court, but the need for honesty and clarity in government investigations has been strongly understood by the state. This situation shows that in court, doubt often matters more than evidence.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for more gripping true crime breakdowns, mysteries, and criminal psychology stories, only on Twisted Case.